Hello everyone, welcome and thanks for being here for another video. This video is in regards to the new update for realistic customizable roads. This is version 3.0. This is specifically for Unreal Engine 5.3 and above because it's making use of Nanite spline mesh features, and this is the way it functions as of now, which is February 1st, 2024. In future versions of Unreal Engine, there may be increased support, and you may not have to do some of these steps that we're about to cover. It may be implemented into the editor with some checkboxes or whatnot. I will make an update video on that, but as of now I'm going to cover how you set up to make use of Nanite spline meshes, because there's a couple little things you have to do. It's very easy. And on the marketplace page here for realistic customizable roads, right here I have a link with a document on how to do this if you need that. You'll see, here it's saying here's the new update. It's a new one, 3.0. And Unreal Engine 5.3 users, please follow these setup instructions to get access to the engine's Nanite spline mesh feature. Click here for setup instructions. Alright, now, just really quick, I make all of these videos every time I make an update. I make a video to understand everything about realistic customizable roads. I highly recommend you watch each video. It's worth doing so you can get the most out of it and understand how it works and not run into problems. Because there's a lot of cool features that you might miss if you didn't watch all of the videos in a sequence. So today's video is only going to cover the new stuff that was added on. And if English is not your native language, I just suggest turning on the closed captions in the video settings below. And real quick, one thing I just want to add in is if you are having frame issues with RCR, it's due most likely to the virtual shadowing and the amount of lights that you have. Lights are resource intensive and virtual shadows are also. So what you can do is probably your quickest, easiest fix is you go to your project settings and then just type in shadow in the search bar here. This should pull it up. Shadow map. There it is, shadow map method. And we'll change that from virtual shadows to shadow maps. Okay. And then frames, much improved. Okay, with that out of the way, let's click on the setup instructions right here. This will take us to a document. And this is what we're about to cover in the video. So you'll see here it's really just 3 steps, and let's do it now. So first we're going to locate the config folder in our project folder. So once you've created your project and you've added realistic customizable roads into it, you'll have something that looks like this, and then you'll have a config folder. So I'm going to open the config folder, and then I'm going to open the default Engine.ini folder. Okay. You'll get something like this. You can open it in the code editor, but if you don't have one, Windows default notepad is just fine. This is really nothing too bad. So what we're looking for is this line right here. It says script hardware targeting hardware targeting settings. Okay, so under that line we need to insert this line right here to make use of this Nanite spline mesh feature. This is some of the newest developments within Unreal. So to access it, you have to add this line of code. Now, I also added these as well, and you can optionally add these too. I'll cover later in the video some fun things we can do with that. Now, while tessellation is not yet working with Nanite spline meshes, or spline meshes in general, it's some things we can do with the static mesh pieces that are interesting. And hopefully, in the future, they will have worked it out. It'll be supported and working. We have yet to see. This is all development. It's on Epic's end with the engine itself, and we just have to wait to see what comes out as officially supported in future releases. That's nothing I can change or do. It's not me. That's on Epic. I just do the roads. So once those are in there, you can click save, and you can close that. And if you need to see this, you can pause the video here. Again, it's also in this document, so you can pull that document up for reference. After we're done with that, we can open the project. Okay, great. So here we are in the project. And let's take a look at what's new. Now again, you won't see this new folder here, 3D Nanite Roads, unless you're in Unreal Engine 5.3 or above. That's where I found the engine to be working well enough to support this. So as of 5.3, we have this new stuff. If you're in an older version of the engine, you will not see this folder. All right. Within this folder, we have maps, which is just a very basic demo showcase map, just showing the various meshes laid out. We have materials. The folder we're going to be wanting to work with in materials is mostly material instances. Right here, there's barriers, road marks, roadside, road surface, and a hide material, which just makes it transparent so you cannot see it. We'll get into that later. There's meshes, and you'll see that there is both nanite and non-nanite. That is because there's a couple of simple ones that are simple enough, like if you just want to throw them into the level non-nanite, that's fine. It's not going to affect your performance that much. And there is textures. That's everything's going into materials. You really don't have to worry about this too much. There's some things like alphas maybe you will want to mess with in materials. We'll get to that later. Right now we're going to try to stay quick and focused, but methodical. Okay, so the spline mesh blueprint that's always been part of realistic customizable roads, the custom blueprint, which is right here in road splines, blueprints. It's based on this here. All right, so it's this one that I made. With these various functions in it. All right, this still works, but this new system is designed a little more, like you can use this blueprint still, but this new system is a little bit more designed with the default Unreal Engine editor landscape spline mesh in mind. It's originally I created that custom blueprint because the the default spline mesh in the editor wasn't quite good enough in my opinion, but it's gotten very good now, and there's some features about it that are very useful, so you can make use of both of these to great effect. So we're going to look at the default version right now because it's supported by Epic. They continue to develop it. It's working and functional and good, and when you can't beat them, join them, right? So what we're going to do first is start from scratch here to make sure we don't miss anything. So I'm going to create a new level, file up here, and go new level, and I'll just do basic and create. Okay, we have nothing here, basically nothing. I'm going to go to selection mode. I'm going to choose landscape. Alright, so we're in landscape mode. We don't have a landscape, so the first thing it's doing is saying let's create one. That's what the screen mesh is here. There's a bunch of information that you can input here as far as how you would like your landscape. That's beyond the scope of this video, so I'll just say that the default settings here are fine, and I will hit create. There we go. Now we have a landscape. Now up here again in this landscape menu, I'm going to go to the manage tab right here. We're on sculpt, I'm going to go to manage. Alright, now I'm going to choose this right here, splines. Okay, down here under edit layers, I am going to create a separate layer just to handle the road splines and keep things organized here. So I right click right in here, and I'm going to hit create, and then I'm going to double click in there and just rename this road splines, just to keep things neat and tidy, its own layer. Alright, now it's really easy to start generating the splines. You just hit Control on your keyboard and then left click, and it will start placing points. And I will just create a loop here. And the nice thing about their system is that it connects, sorts out all that math for you, and is good at it. So all I had to do was click back on the original point there while holding Control, and it closed itself. Now we have a loop built. We need to add in our mesh. So what I'm going to do is come over here on the right into this menu here, and I'm going to just click on segments. That will select all of the segments that are in here. So you can see that these points are the control points. Okay, if I click on that, click on control points over here, it selects all the control points. If I click on segments, it is each one of the segments between these control points. So it's kind of hard to see, but there is a green line here. Hard to get that to show up. There's a green line right there and a green line right there. Between these 2 points is one segment. That's a segment. Now, with all of the segments selected by clicking this here, so you select all connected, click segments, and then I will come down here to landscape spline meshes, and you'll see there's 0 array element here. So I'm going to add element. Now we have index 0. I'll hit the drop down there, mesh, go into mesh, and you'll see there's nothing in there right now. So we're going to give it something. And that's where we go to our 3D Nanite Roads folder. And I'm going to go to the meshes folder, and I'll go to Nanite, and I'm going to gravel because this is probably the greatest example of Nanite in action. And 8 meter, here we go, the 8 meter. I'll click on that so it's selected. I'll come back over here to the mesh where there's no mesh, and then I'll just hit the arrow to insert that. There it is. Okay, now very important, I'm going to go to scale to width, and I'm going to uncheck that. This puts the road back to its natural width as a static mesh. So this is the true width it should be. And you can see, I'll adjust the lighting here a little bit so we can see this better by holding Control and L. But you can see that this is actual geometry. Each one of these rocks is real three-dimensional geometry, which is the cool part about Nanite. And what's more is now you can make spline meshes with it. So this is currently on the very edge of development with Unreal Engine and what Epic is doing. Pretty cool stuff. And hopefully we'll see a lot more cool stuff with it. Now, I've created a loop, and let's say I want to extend more. So I'm going to click there on that control point, and I want to branch out. I'll hold Control L, create a new point, and there it is. It's just that easy. If I want to create one coming out of here, I'll just left click that. Now I'll hold Control and left click out here. There we go. So that's very convenient. One of the nice things about their default system, and it's so well supported that we should make use of it. Why not? Let's move on to the next point. If you want to create another road, we can just, with our layer selected here that we made, road splines, I'm going to create a new point over here. So hold Control L. I'm sorry, not L. Control and left click. Oops. That's not what we wanted. Control Z. I'm gonna make sure I clicked off of there. I'm gonna click the landscape itself, and then hit Control and left click, and there's my new point. So if that happens to you, you need to make sure you're not still selected on one of these points over here. And then Control and left click, Control left click. So we can create another road here, and let's put in a different mesh this time. So you back over here, I'll click on segments, and then landscape spline meshes, zero array elements. I'll hit add element. You have to drop down on index 0, and we want to put something in here. Let's take a look at what we've got. So I'll go to asphalt now. There's the nice big fat 12 lane. That sounds good. Let's do this one with the rumble strips on the inside and outside. And I'll put that in there. Give it a second. It's got to think. This is a big mesh. Okay. And very important again, scale to width. I'm going to untick that. There we go. Now it's the true width that the static mesh really is. I'm going to zoom down here. There we go. You can see that this makes use of that siding. It has rumble strips, which is pretty cool. They are actually three-dimensional because this is Nanite. And this dirt siding is meant to help you blend into your landscape too. So if I wanted to bring this up a little bit, click on my control point and hit W to move, and I'll pull that up so you can see the idea here. But, this is an embankment, and then you could build your landscape, blend it in, put your weeds and grasses and trees in here, and have a very cool looking level. Now let's move on to materials, because there's some interesting things, and I've created new features with the materials. So let's take a look. Okay, so in the 3D Nanite Roads folder, and then under materials, I'm going to go to instances and go to road surface. So this particular road right here is using the mi_3dnr underscore, here we go, road A1. I'm going to open that, and you'll see that there's new options here, and this is going to make getting your road wear and your wetness a lot easier. So before we had to mesh paint everything, which is really cool if you want to get super detailed and vary into your environment design. But if you have really large, long stretches of road, that could get very tedious. So there's new options to handle all of that for us. So if I tick, let's start at the top in the cracks section. Okay, so if I click on use cracks, zoom in here, and there's something about Nanite at the moment too I'd like to address. We're gonna cover this more in a minute, but the normals are not properly functional within Nanite spline meshes, or within Nanite. Nanite doesn't really need normals because it uses geometry. Now, with the road material randomized in the way that I've built it, it would be more efficient to make use of the tessellation, so we can still randomize it. If I were to create a static geometry, there would be no more randomization, right? And randomization is what makes this look so unrepeating and more real world. There's no pattern repeat. So for now, the normals are not functional for the randomization, and we're waiting for tessellation to be supported. If you don't know what tessellation is, I'll get into that more in a minute, but let's stay on track with using these new features in the material itself. So looking here at cracks, if I untick that, you'll see the cracks went away. If I tick it, there's the cracks. If I tick easy tire wear, give that a second, you'll see that the cracks now are just spread across the whole thing, but we want to restrict it to just tire wear. So I'm going to tick on tire wear and click cracks, and it's going to restrict it to the cracks. It's going to restrict the cracks to the tire paths where they would be, because that's the path of travel, where the road's taking all of the wear and abuse. Now, if I wanted it to have that and have extra cracks, I can tick on extra cracks. And now there are spots that are not just within the tire pattern. that do have some cracks. So for example, right here, there's some that fell outside of the tire lines. The pour seams are these lines running here, parallel, kind of dark, not super apparent, but when I back out here a little bit, you might see it better. So these lines here, when they pour the asphalt on highways and freeways, they do it in sections, and you'll get these colorations, these seams of where each strip was poured. So they did this lane, and then they did this lane, and then this lane, or inside to out or outside to in. So we can turn that off and on. So if we wanted a road where there's no pour seams, there we go. If we do want them, we just turn that back on. There they are, right there. Then we still have tire wear section here, tire wear color. We can change that, of course, as always. We have truck grime. That is over here. That is for the outer lanes where trucks travel. The trucks stay to outer lanes where there's slower traffic. There's a little more grime. So, and if we wanted to increase that, I'll show you in a minute. Easy mark tire wear. That's on. I can turn that off. You'll see everything. Okay. And you see those tire patterns disappeared. Turn it back on. There they are. Off and on. The used truck grime. Turn that off. Turn it on. This, there we go. Sorry. I was ticking the box for the alpha that introduces the truck grime. The used truck grime right here. Okay, so there's just a little bit more wear right there, see? So that's off. Everything's pretty uniform. Turn easy tire wear on. You can see it there. And the truck grime is a little dirtier on the right lanes. Okay. Moving on with wetness. And when I'm not trying to cover so much, I'll get into some more details here. And I'll probably be adding even more features too as well in the future. Use wetness, so that's still here, and we'll turn that on. Okay, we have spots of wetness. These are really thin puddles where the road's really just sort of damp. I'm going to move the sun so we can see it better. Here we go. Okay. And then under wetness, we still have use fully wet. So we make that completely wet. There it is. Whole road is soaked. We can use tire track dry. That's where tire drag tracks are drier because the tires are pushing the water out of the way. We can uncheck tire track dry and use tire track wet. That's where perhaps the road is sunk in where the tires run, so the water's pooling there. There's many kinds of patterns in roads in the world, and it's hard to cover them all. Okay, there's fully wet with tire track dry, and there's fully wet with tire track wet. That didn't make too big of a difference. Okay, and moving on. we're going to puddles. So puddles now have the easy puddle option. Use easy puddles. I will turn that on. Now we have deeper puddles. There is a subtle difference between these and the just damp wetness. Perhaps more apparent when I raise the sun a little bit. So the puddles are a little deeper. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn puddles off for now. And I'm going to turn the wetness back off. All right. Oh, and for concrete, which isn't in this update, but that is something that's coming, and if you wanted to set that up yourself, you certainly could. You would, if you're familiar with this, you would come down here and you would take the concrete textures that were in the old stuff and drop them into here. Although this uses ORD or ARD instead of ORM. That's beyond the scope of this video. I can make a separate one just to cover those details. Okay, that's the basics. It sure makes covering long stretches a lot easier. And as I'm recording this, I'm realizing I forgot to make the truck grime color multiplier a parameter. So in the next update, I will make sure to do that. This is the material itself. So under master materials, M_3DNR Nanite Road surface. You just open this, and this is the new structure, the new method of the material. And coming over here, you can see the original stuff, material 1, material 2, and then the blend, and then there's large cracks now, tire wear, joint seams, pore seams, truck grime, and wetness, and the puddles. And the truck grime, I forgot to make this a parameter. So if you don't want to wait for the next update, you can just convert to parameter. I just did that, but if it wasn't like that, you would just hit convert to parameter. I convert it back to a constant right now, but if it's a constant, then you would see convert to parameter, and I just did that. I named it truck grime color. And I am going to put it in the group of tire wear. There we go. Now that'll show up in our material instance. I'll hit apply, hit save, and in material instance, there it is, our truck grime color multiplier. And we can change that. So if you want to darken the asphalt, you can also darken the truck grime. I will make sure to include that in the next update. All right, moving on. Okay, and in regards to joint seams, that would be useful for concrete material, which is in the works to be part of these 3D Nanite Roads. Then you would check that on, and then you would see that there's joint seams here, which would be where each patch of the concrete meets. I think perhaps I've seen asphalt roads where this was done, maybe. It's certainly for concrete. So there those are. All right. Nice and easy, a lot less work for you. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at putting roads together. So I have a stretch of freeway laid out here, and I'm going to create an off-ramp. So I'm going to make sure I'm not on this spline. I'm going to click over here in the landscape. I've got the layer selected, and I'll hold Control and left click. Okay, we'll try that for now. And I'm going to use a 1-lane off-ramp. Right here. Okay, now I'm going to click on that and hit W. And select all points. And I'm going to drag this over. Oh, I forgot to scale to width. Hang on. Segments. And scale to width, I'm going to untick. There we go. That's more appropriate. All right. Alright, so now it's a matter of adjustments and changing the road markings so that this all makes sense. I'm going to create this off-ramp, so I'm going to bring this over here, and I'm going to rotate this a little bit here. Okay, don't worry, this will all work out in the end. I'm going to get that lined up a little bit. I want to start bringing it off over this way. So we're going to create a exit lane. Right about there. And this down. It's going to be about there. Yeah, not too bad. Okay. I'm actually going to click on here. I'm going to hold Control and make another point right where I want it. I'm going to turn off my degree snapping so I have fine tuning control. And this cutout on the markings is LOD issues with the Nanite. We'll address that in a little bit. All right. Not too bad. That needs to come down. There. All right. Let's see. That down a little bit. Just for now. Okay. So on this segment, I want to turn off that yellow line. What I'm going to do is go to the mesh that I'm using, which is this one here. Open it and note that there's 3 materials, and the yellow one is the 3rd material. That's what I want to change. Now I'm going to come over here to our menu, and under mesh, where we inserted the mesh, there's material overrides, and I'm going to add 3 slots because there are 3 on the mesh. And the 3rd one is what we want to change. Alright, so with this segment selected right here, I'm going to change that yellow line to, I'm going to turn that off with the hide material. Drop that right there. Yellow line is gone. Okay, now for this next segment, that yellow line, I want that to be a short dash. So I'm going to road marks. Yep. There's that short dash. Oh, I need to add my material overrides for that segment. Right there. Apologies, we have tech guys coming in and out. So, going to short dash. I'm going to insert that there. There we go. That's better. Now it just needs a little bit of work. There's a fine line here, and what that is this segment right here on this piece. Let's go ahead and turn its white outer line off. Now we need to look at that particular mesh to see where that's at. So we'll open that up. Oh, please forgive my dog. It's a noisy day today, but I got to get this video out. Alright, so a lot of materials on this. We'll note that it's element 10 as the outer sidelines. And that's what we want to turn off. So over here in material overrides, there's a total of 14. I'm going to make 14. 2, 3, 4. So it'd really be 13 because we start at 0. There we go. Element 10 is what we're after. So element 10 right here, index 10. I'm going to use that hide material again. Material instances, hide material is just right there. And we'll bring that over into 10. Alright, that turned off. That should have turned that drop in there. No. Go in there. There we go. Perfect. That's better. Much better. Okay. Oh, so we got the joint seams on. Let's turn those off. I want to go to the road surface material. Joint seams off. We're not doing concrete. We're doing asphalt. Okay. Now, on here, we can, let's see, that yellow line right here probably should still be white. That's how it is on actual off-ramps. So let's put a section drop here. We'll grab that section. Material overrides. Again, on this piece, it was the third element. So we're going to swap that out for the yellow, or the white, excuse me, a white outer. Boom, right there. Okay. Starting to come together. Again, these LOD issues, we'll have to address that. Okay, I'm kind of getting it lined up here. Now, the Nanite resolution here is not cooperating. So we'll cover that, I think, in another video as its own topic. The easy solution for right now is we're not going to use the Nanite version of this off-ramp. We're going to use the non-Nanite. We're going to go to the one lane. There it is. We'll insert that. And voila, magically fixed. Everything's happy. Everything's good. So now I'm going to just finalize these adjustments here. Okay, one thing I'm going to do to make this blend in a little bit better out here is to grab the material that's on the Nanite Roads. It doesn't have the normal in it, and apply it on this section. Okay, I think I'm going to stop this video here. I just wanted to cover the very basics as quickly as possible of this new system. I will make more videos of specific topics within this, and some tips and tricks and some useful information that I think could be handy to have. And I will see you in the future videos, and I will talk to you on Discord, which, by the way, if you have not joined the Discord and you would like more direct access to me, or to stay more up to date on what's happening and what's upcoming, then please join the Discord. The link is on the product page on the Unreal Engine Marketplace, and I will put it below this video as well. If you have not subscribed, please do so, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Talk to you soon.